We begin on June 11, 1996, in the nation of Petria, an authoritarian country ruled by a harsh dictatorship, led by President Tyrak, which is currently undergoing a potentially transformative election season, with Senator Lupe Flores, a progressive political rival to Tyrak, running against him. The runaway teenagers, several individual teens, are attempting to flee the peninsular country via Road 96, the only route through National Mountain, at its northern border wall, traveling the country's many pathways to reach it by walking, hitchhiking, taking buses, hailing taxis, and stealing cars. Along their journeys, the teens explore, scavenge for supplies, obtain money, and uncover more information about Petria, all while maintaining their energy levels with food and rest, and avoiding being arrested, thrown in a work camp, or killed. While traveling, the teens encounter several unique citizens of Petria, learning about them, along with their connections to each other, and to Petria's history. Stan and Mitch, two brothers who are incompetent career criminals, rob stores and people as they drive their motorcycle all across Petria. Sonia Sanchez, sister of Stan and Mitch, is a reporter, newscaster, and host of The Sonia Show for GNN News, Petria's news network. She is strongly pro-Tyrak and anti-Flores, with her show used as a political propaganda tool, often reporting on the teens as missing, requesting that citizens provide information to track them down. Zoe, another teenager also trying to get to the border and flee Petria, is the daughter of the Minister of Oil, a powerful and wealthy member of Tyrak's regime. John is a truck driver and member of the Black Brigades, a revolutionary force, or terrorist organization according to Petria's government, who constantly drives the brigade's pirate radio transmitter around to avoid it being tracked, located, and shut down. Fanny Campbell is a compassionate police officer with a strong sense of morality, who is willing to disobey orders to do what she believes is right, in contrast to her fellow corrupt cops, who behave immorally and take bribes. Alex, the adopted son of Fanny, is a 14-year-old self-proclaimed genius, who is exceptionally skilled with technology and makes money by developing and selling games. Jared is a taxi driver for the Happy Taxi service, who uses it as his cover for being a serial killer, able to approach and lure his victims, while armed with a pistol and extreme anger management issues. The teens learn of the 1986 peak collapse, where during the previous election day, nearly 10 years ago, on September 9, 1986, along Petria's north border at the base of National Mountain, the previously elected, already tyrannical Tyrak made a public appearance for his rigged re-election campaign. Seizing the opportunity, the brigades, led by Robert Winters, who recruits both adults and teenagers alike to carry out his violent schemes, executed a planned assassination attempt on Tyrak. Brigade members Stephen and Naomi, Alex's biological parents, were tasked with creating and detonating a bomb to kill Tyrak, but it malfunctioned, leading John and his wife, Connie, to attempt to kill Tyrak by running him over with their truck instead. However, they also failed to kill Tyrak, which then led him to secretly detonate the anti-avalanche explosives located on the mountain peak above in retaliation, causing the peak's destructive collapse. The resulting falling rock debris killed many nearby people, including Stephen, Naomi, Connie, and Lola, Jared's teenage daughter who Robert recruited to provide additional support. Afterward, Fanny, who was there as part of Tyrak's police security detail, found Alex, then a small child, in the rubble, and upon realizing that his parents were now dead brigades members and he was orphaned, took him in and raised him as her own. Sonia, who was also there reporting on the re-election event, captured the horrific footage on camera, which showed the brigade's assassination attempt, allowing Tyrak's regime to spin the situation, claiming that the collapse was a terrorist attack by the brigades. The collapse was then used to justify the increased authoritarianism of the Petrian government, criminalizing of the brigades, and the building of the border security wall now in place there. Overwhelmed with grief and anger at Lola's death, Jared became psychotic, murdering people whenever he's reminded of the tragedy, with the current goal of targeting and killing the brigades for involving Lola in the first place, and Sonia, whom he perceives as having made no attempt to save Lola. Stan and Mitch, having become aware of Jared's intentions through the anonymous death threat letters he sends Sonia, are currently tracking him, in order to put a stop to his plans and save their sister. After lying to Alex for years about who his biological parents were, Fanny finally told him the truth about them, leading him to run away from home and join the Brigades, in exchange for learning more information about Stephen and Naomi. John, who's no longer as violent-minded as Robert after losing both his wife and some of his fingers in the collapse, maintains a long-distance relationship with Fanny and is protective of Alex, not wanting him to know all the harsh details surrounding his parents' deaths. Zoe is arrested by the police and originally sent to the Iron Pits, the work camp where Tyrak's regime sends everyone who attempts to cross the border without authorization, where she witnesses teenagers being brainwashed and tortured. However, after it's realized that she's the Minister of Oil's daughter, the police are transporting her back to her father in a van, when the Brigades attack it, rescuing Zoe, who then joins them, revealing that she stole a classified government document addressed to her father from Tyrak. The document incriminates Tyrak as being responsible for the collapse, proving his guilt and the Brigade's innocence, and so they task Zoe with smuggling the document across the border and taking it to foreign news outlets, to both raise awareness and enlist aid from the outside world in overthrowing Tyrak. Jared tracks down Sonia, and just as he's about to kill her, he overhears her tearful recollection of the collapse, specifically that she tried to save Lola, and wishes that she could have traded places with her so she would have lived. Upon hearing this, Jared decides to spare Sonia's life, and begins to leave, when he's spotted by Stan and Mitch, who attack him, before he manages to escape, now focusing his revenge on Robert, abducting and throwing him in his taxi's trunk, with the aim of destroying the Brigade's leadership. Finally arriving at Road 96, and the heavily militarized north border wall, the teens attempt to cross the border in various ways, with some succeeding, while others are arrested or killed. They pay a smuggler to guide them, venture through an abandoned wall tunnel, hide in a freight truck authorized to cross, bypass the wall by climbing National Mountain itself, and take an offshore worker exam. One teen meets up with Zoe at the wall, and when the Brigades crash a truck into the security complex to create a distraction, the duo venture inside, running through while avoiding the guards, until they come to an underground tunnel exit. As they run towards daylight at the end of the tunnel, guards shoot at them, and Zoe is hit, knocking her to the ground, and leaving the teen with the option to either escape, or go back and try to save Zoe. The teen saves Zoe, helping her get up and keep running, but is shot while doing so, and dies as Zoe makes it to the exit, escaping with the incriminating document. Another teen makes it to Road 96 on August 9th, 1 month before the election, and with tensions rising and security tightening as the day approaches, is captured by police and taken to a holding cell near the border, where other teens are also being held, brainwashed, and tortured. On September 9th, Election Day, the teen is being transferred to the Iron Pits in a van, which is attacked by protesting rioters at the wall, flipping over and allowing the teen to escape, before meeting up with John, and heading off to help him find Alex, who is somewhere nearby. Finding Alex in the midst of attempting to disarm a bomb, which Robert had someone make using Alex's blueprints, John assists the teen in successfully deactivating it, before finally telling Alex the story of his parents' deaths. John explains that he didn't tell Alex sooner for fear that the knowledge would radicalize him, making him more like Robert, and because he didn't want Alex to hate him for failing to kill Tyrak, leading to the collapse and his parents' deaths. Alex forgives him before Fanny arrives, holding John at gunpoint before realizing that he's the man she's been in a long-distance relationship with, and after arguing that it's wrong for her to continue to serve a corrupt government, Alex convinces her to lower the gun. Meanwhile, Zoe, along with foreign supporters she's recruited from the outside of Petria, break through from the other side of the wall, joining forces with the Brigades and other protesting rioters to fight the border guards, and the teen must make a choice. If the teen were to choose to escape, they would be abandoning everyone else. Alex would join the fight and be killed after being caught in the crossfire, and the riots would continue briefly before ultimately being snuffed out by the overbearing Tyrak regime, leaving Petria to a grisly fate. If the teen were to choose revolution, they would stay to fight instead of escaping, by joining the protesting rioters at the wall, where many would die, including Zoe, but Tyrak would be overthrown by force, being replaced by Flores, who some would believe to be too moderate for Petria. The teen chooses a third option, to put their faith in the election process, and they stay to fight, sacrificing their life so that Zoe and many others live, with the uprising expanding to most of Petria, ensuring a fair, democratic election, in which Flores wins by a landslide over Tyrak. She then promises to repeal many of Tyrak's policies. He is arrested and tried for his crimes, the iron pits are closed, and the wall is taken down, leading to the hope of a bright future for all of Petria.